I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10 to the Sky. Yes, welcome back to some more All the Mods 10 to the Sky, and I tell you what, today is going to be a cleanup day, a day that we prep things up for some of the future episodes. See, after getting ourselves a quantum computer that can instantly craft all kinds of stuff and infinite power storage due to Draconic and actually taking on the hardest boss in the pack and tearing it to shreds, today we need to start focusing more towards completing the All the Mods Star. But Chosen, what's the All the Mods Star? Why would you even focus on this? What's it going to do? Well. Let me explain a few things. The All the Mods Star grants us access to creative items, essentially allowing us to call the end of a pack, or at least I like to call it the end of the pack, but you can completely continue and try and break things all you want. But technically, the goal for me would be to make all 18 stars and then automate the production of infinite stars being produced. That I find very fun. And what's a good way to do that? Well, you could automate all of the items required for making a star, and then, well, you combine all of those items together, and then you have the stars, or you can collect up to 18 of them, and then you can make a bee. And the bee then allows you to be able to make more stars. That's at least one of the goals. And why would you need 18 stars? Well, the bee requires an All the Mods Star block to actually make the bee, and it also requires All the Mods Star block as its pollinating block to be able to work. So there are a lot of things required in making the All the Mods Star, and there's not so many things required into actually automating it, so long as you've done these tasks at least 18 times. And hopefully that's not too confusing, but it'll at least put some perspective on why I'm going to be gathering some of the items we're going to be gathering today. Now, since we're going to be playing around with all of the little bits and bobs that are going to be needed for the All the Mods Star, what has been your least favorite thing to craft in the All the Mods Star in All the Mods 10 to the Sky? I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. And well, back to it then. So I guess we should definitely start working on some of these smaller tasks. For example, I think getting some bees up and running, because we are going to need some singularities from extended crafting done. I think we should work on a few different bees. Steel being a big one that we're going to need, because steel right now, even though we have it automated with mechanism, is pretty slow. But also getting these other mixed alloy bees, for example, bronze, electrum, and invar, are all going to be required in making the ultimate singularity, not just the individual singularities required. And we are going to need one of these in order to complete a star. It is required inside of this craft, along with these iron golds, which are also needed, by the way, inside of the regular singularity. On top of all of that, for the pulsating black hole, we also need gold in abundant supply, which is about 500,000, give or take, gold to be able to make this block. 500,000 iron, for example, as well. There's just a lot of items that are required. I think we're pretty good on gold. I have 4.5 million gold that has built up in here. But yes, getting the bees is something that I should definitely get started. Now, heading up here, which I guess I could take the bee portal, we need to pop on over here. So I've been doing a little bit of work, and I have gold gene samples, and I have the iron gene samples. I am going to need 10 of those because I need to make these bee spawn eggs. So let's go ahead and throw these in here. Now, steel bees are going to require molten steel dropped on top of iron bees inside of the casing. And so I have all of these to be able to make the bees. I just processed a bunch of iron bees, and then the gold bees as well. So we have gold, which I did farm up right here. And then for the bronze, I needed the tin bees, which I do have the tin bees over here. I'll just take in my egg, and let's go ahead. I should really make chicken seeds, honestly. But yes, we just got to take our eggs, throw them in here, treats, making sure we combine all of these with some treats, and start making our bee spawn eggs. Now, back in my productive Metalworks warehouse over here, I don't know how much of this we're going to need. So 2 of them, we need, I think it was 8 per. I'm just wondering how many ingots is this? Okay, so it's essentially 9 blocks to be able to do one of them. Okay, so to get our steel bee, we place that on there, we click, and it's going to take an entire block of steel on this bee to be able to make it. It's a slow process. I've got to do it for all of these different bees, all of the different materials, or at least I think it is. Yep, it's doing a thing. There it goes. It just takes a little bit of time, and perfect. We have steel bees. We just got to go through this process, get all of these bees up and running, and then we get to work on some other more fun stuff today. And so bees are all set up and all of the storages are set up. I do have to make more of the Omega upgrades, and hopefully I have enough. I am going to need quite a few of these. Like if I do 4 more, goodness, just adding 4 more. I mean, I do need technically more than this. I mean, 8 more on top of that, 12 of them. I think that maxes them all out, and it definitely does. Oof. It's just one of those things, man, where these recipes are kind of expensive and you're used to you not being able to craft a whole bunch of them. Like, I think my big loss here was just the Draconic Essence. Just those crafts alone ate through just about all of my backed up Draconic Essence. But now, I mean, these are all going to passively start producing. I could give them a little bit of a boost just to make sure everything is running smoothly. I think the steel bee runs off of a steel block. I should probably check. And yes, it does look like they are all functioning. And yeah, this, I mean, at the moment, this is going to have a hard time keeping up, but that is dumping all of that out. Looking good. I just solved that real simply by just adding a couple more centrifuges for right now. I mean, this is working pretty good. So it's just going to passively keep producing all of the nuggets here, and we just got to make sure we can craft those into their ingot form. And now I do get this question a lot. Chosen, why don't you use like a compacting drawer for this? I would use a compacting drawer, but AE kind of doesn't like the compacting drawer sometimes. And it can cause recipe conflicts, especially if you go to craft something and it requires a lot of things that are compacted up, but also uses the nuggets. Well, it'll use up whatever it does first, and then will leave you with an incomplete recipe. And so, yeah, you'll kind of run out of things because it thought you had both in stock. This is where the quantum computer is just so good. Like, you can just create the crafts. It happens instantaneously, creating the ingots from the nuggets. So yeah, it doesn't really matter once you have a quantum crafter up. With that out of the way, we can start to look at some things that are also going to take a bit more time. For example, the Eclipse Ember blocks. Now, when I set up all of the stuff from Just Dire Things, we really had it already planned and already set up to allow this to work from our automated Just Dire Things setup. So yes, this right here technically does work. And inside of my patterns, I built all of the patterns to allow this process to work. And it's very, very simple. It's like the same method that we ended up using. So whenever I go to craft this, however, it is going to take a bit of time. And that's mainly because of the pickaxe that we used in here and the fact that this just takes a little bit of time. So if we go to Just Dire Things and Eclipse Ember blocks, we're going to need 18 of these blocks, right? So for right now, let's do 16 since we already have 2 in stock. And I start this, you're going to notice this is going to use a ton of coal. 4,000 coal has to be placed. And it's going to do this operation. And it's pretty darn slow. It is very slow. Doesn't generate a whole lot every time these are broke. And even if I accelerate this, we run into a problem where this just can't break it fast enough. But there's a solution to this. And that is called an Insta-Break module. That, however, is going to cost a few netherite picks. But, I mean, outside of that, we're just about ready to go. We just do Insta-Break, just like this. And it is going to use our time crystals, some nether stars, and we can now set this up to do some Insta-Breaking. And that's going to allow me to tick accelerate this and make this really fast. So all I got to do, pop on into here, throw this module on this pick, and we're just about ready to go. By default, it should be on. And yeah, we don't have to modify anything. Like, it should just be able to Insta-Break the thing, as you've seen right there. I put this in, and now this thing should rip whenever I accelerate it. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a problem anymore. Like, we just sat here, accelerate it for a minute. This thing is just going to run. Yep, this is some really fast... And by the way, this is just all using Just Dire Things. Like, I'm using the acceleration one from Just Dire Things. I'm using just the blocks from Just Dire Things. The pattern provider is sending the stuff. I mean, it's going through it quite quickly, but still, this is quite the process that is needed to do this. Like, even with this running, you can see how long it actually takes to produce all of this stuff. Now, we're getting pretty close to like all of the blocks being used up right here. And I think once the blocks get used up, that's when this like recursive sort of, not recursive craft, this exponential craft is really going to get faster. It's like the same thing with doing the AE circuits. Like once this starts and gets through all of the base coal, then we're like significantly lower, like way, way lower on the amounts that need to be processed for the other ones. Yes, this is quite the thing going on here. I mean, honestly, let's see. Are we going to get through it? All right, we're almost there. I think this is the last one to accelerate. I really wish we could use like these acceleration blocks, but there's that. It's doing the final processes here. Oh my goodness, it's so quick. And yes, it's basically done. Like we are now switching into the final stages right here. There's only a few blocks needed to do this last bit of conversion. Oh wow, this is a crazy look. I bet the bit rate is just being torn apart. And there's the Eclipse blocks. The last few that were required. And it's done. We have 18 fuel blocks from Just Dire things, which is one of the materials we need for the All the Mods star. My goodness, look at that. Now the Witherless Rose, that is pretty straightforward, and we can actually get rid of that and also get rid of the fuel. The furnaces, like making 18 unobtainium furnaces, honestly shouldn't be too bad for us either. It is going to be kind of wild how quickly that crafts all of those. Oh man, this is absurd, isn't it? Just to put in perspective, like the amount of things that it has to craft through in order to craft that furnace, it's so many steps, so many steps. And honestly, same for the Ender generator. This is just a really quick thing that we can craft all the little bits and bobs here. Now, a few other things that I have to get my hands on for the Mundabeater, which is from Forbidden and Arcanus. We're going to need phantom membranes primarily for this. Everything else should be pretty straightforward. Now, arcane crystals, I'm guessing we got that from sieving. Do we actually have arcane? Oh yeah, we have plenty of arcane crystals. Okay, so I'm not really worried about anything else here. We just need to get ourselves on some phantom membranes, which is going to be done by converting a chicken. I'm going to drop it in here. And honestly, we just need to get this phantom. We need to get it inside of our hostile neural network. Now, I always say this when converting something like this, make sure that before we get them in, we swab them again, since I did use up my swab. And yeah, then it's just a matter of taking these guys out. And thankfully we have our draconic bow. It's going to make this really, really easy to get the max tier. Yeah. Now, since we're working on hostile neural networks, another thing we're going to need is going to be a wither prediction. We need to make sure we have some of those. And I think what I'm going to do is just take out some withers inside of the Soren cube. So we can use like the personal shrinking device to click into the Soren box. And this is a very, very large, by the way, compact machine. But I should be able to easily take on some withers in here. And I can do a whole bunch at once. So we'll grab some soul sand. And what I'll do is I'll just place a line of them. Like so. And this is going to be absolutely wild. But we can use something like the building gadgets or a wand. And let's see, or construction sticks. I keep forgetting they're called construction sticks now in this version. There we go. And yeah, we'll just build off. So we have a few of them. It's so many. And then we place down our row of skulls. Just like so. And then I think it has to be placed by hand though, in order to do the other ones. But yes. Boop, 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 boop. So many of these things. We should be completely fine. Like, I don't think these are going to cause any problems, but I will go ahead and claim the data. And then place that in here, and then just take them all out. Yeah. That wasn't very difficult. And after that chaotic experience, yes, we'll just drop this into here. That should just jump right up. As soon as I add it, that's right. I have to pull labels. Again, this is kind of the neat thing, right? We just go, okay, the simulator, we add that to the sim list. add this to the sim list, and then push, and that's all we've got to do for this. And then that's going to jump in and start working great. And with a little help here with the acceleration, yeah, we have plenty of wither predictions being produced. Now, another interesting one to do is the Nitro batteries. Now, this is actually requiring them to be completely filled up. So yes, we would need 18 Nitro batteries. So we might as well get those crafted up. But yeah, we need to charge them in some capacity. And we have a couple of ways of doing this. It is going to really drain our network though. But that's sort of the good part about having this giant battery backup. And that is because all of this power that is built up in here can be output directly through this because we have the bypass limit. So we're not really limited to 2 million in, 2 million out, or what have you. We're limited to however much power we have stored in here and however much these points can actually send out, which I'm pretty sure is a number that we don't have to worry about because we just don't have it inside of here. And with 18 of those filled up, you can see we are limited though by the recharge rate of the actual battery itself. There are some other ways that we can charge this battery though, and that is through the use of an energy hopper. Yes, this is a very odd device, I will say that, but the way that this energy hopper works, especially if we get it all the way up to Nitro, is it's going to charge the things inside of a container. Like, it's very, very weird. But yes, you can have a barrel and it will hopper power into said barrel. Very interesting, very temporary though. So if we place this down and then we place the hopper onto it, we can take a point and just slap a point on here and just have it fill this hopper with all of our power. I'm also going to bypass the limit, and the max it can send is the 2 million. And then things inside of this barrel are now going to be charged, which is, yeah, kind of a thing. So we'll grab all of our batteries out that we just made, and well, we just throw them in here. And just over time, these are all going to charge up. And yes, you could put more hoppers on here, by the way. But yeah, this is just going to charge the thing that is in inventory. This could be really useful too. For example, if you have a machine like the Just Dire things, right? If you wanted to use a basic one, I think it can charge the tool that is inside of a basic one. That's kind of a use that this would have. And the more I think about that, the more I'm like, oh yeah, this actually makes sense. I just have never really like used this. Even though I've known it exists, I never really thought of it in the way that I just mentioned, where yeah, if you have a tool that is in something like this, for example, it could charge the item in the inventory here, so you could use it in the craft. Pretty neat. And another one that is going to be from Powa is going to be, well, the player transmitter. And this does require some zombies to be spawned in, and we're going to have to capture up some zombies. Man, I tell you what, having spawn eggs and being able to control a spawner like this, so useful. And now that we have those, I made all of the patterns for this and just simply 18 power transmitters. And it's going to be really nice just having these things out of the way. That way we really only have to focus on these primary tasks. And these are going to take a little bit of time to set up, but I will say it shouldn't be all that bad. And there's the little last bit doing its thing, and all 18 of those are crafted up now with 2. Dragon scales, by the way, we've already completed enough dragon kills, so yeah, that one's also checked off the list because we would only have needed 18 of those. Now, what about the nether star generator? I mean, that one should take a while, right? No, this one's going to be really fast too. Oh, it needs charcoal. Interesting. So 144 blocks of charcoal. I think this might have been a pattern issue though. Yeah, because this looks like it can work off of coal blocks too. Oh, actually not. Yeah, this is quite literally coal. To be able to get coal though, we do need to just take logs and smelt logs. So let's just use our regular log that we have that can generate, and we'll just simply craft it, and we'll send it into our furnace to be generated. Then we can request 18. And now it's so quick. Now we also need entangled singularities, which is kind of interesting that this is required, but it's really just a singularity and an ender pearl, and then we drop some TNT and we blow that up next to it, and that creates entangled singularities. Just like that. And you actually get 2, and so I'm interested. The quantum singularities are required for the Oblivion shard, and yeah, we need quite a few of them for that. I'm wondering if some of these items that I've crafted here, if I actually need more. Just didn't realize it yet. Definitely this is one of them. Now you may be wondering, Chosen, can I just do multiple at one time? I don't actually know, so we might as well test this. Can you do multiple in one explosion? I think, but also not sure. Oh, you definitely can. Oh, fantastic. We're getting a bunch of singularities made. Look at this. Our batteries are done. They're already all charged up. Like, that didn't take any time at all. Look at that. So now there's a couple of other things that are going to be a little bit tedious to make. That is going to be the focus of summoning and also the flight module. Everything else kind of requires some mod progression to go through. We've already done the Manhattan module. I can actually make Manhattan modules. It's no problem. Paradox machine we can do. This requires us to go significantly through Ender.io, which is something I plan on doing. Diorum blocks, actually, we can just make 18 of those real quick. Just completely cancel that off. Insanium, that's also something that we can do. I just got to build the recipes for it. And then actually additions, that's a mod that we are going to need to dive a little bit into to be able to make the empowered canola seeds. And also make the player interface. But there's also some phantom face things that we can do with actually additions that I want to kind of get into in its own video. We actually may work on this next episode. But let's talk about the flight module and also the focus of summoning. So, focus of summoning. That one should be kind of easy for us. Everything is easy here, and actually doing the enchanting apparatus stuff is pretty straightforward and very quick if you have an accelerator. It's this guy. So it's actually taking on the Wilden boss to get 18 of these tributes. There is a way we can do this. We could activate them all with a redstone signal all in one go and just completely take them on, which I'm honestly kind of down to do. And I've done this before, but I'm thinking, yes, getting all 18 of them really, really quickly would be a really fun thing to set up. But there's also a way we could just automate the production of them. So speaking of that, let's pop on into here and let's play around with some things. So a ritual brazier can spawn this mob in, and we can actually use something like a modular router, for example, to right click things into the brazier. And we can just have this activate by clicking these items in. So we want this to right click. So the action is right click the item that is in the buffer onto the brazier, and if we put the items in the correct way, it should just activate this thing. It is actually very easy to automate this. So all we have to do is put the items in sequence, and I'm actually going to set this to redstone pulse mode, so it's pulsed. And then what I want to do is I want this to only pulse whenever I tell it to pulse for right now. Because I do want to define the items first inside of here before we get this all up and running. Now, this can 100% be done with applied energistics. And if you want to see a more in-depth video, I did cover this in my Project Architect 2 playlist, where I did automate this entire process with applied energistics. But it's very easy. This barrel, essentially, you'd have the pattern provider only send one batch in, and then whenever it's finished, you would have some way to collect the items and send it back into the pattern provider. Very, very straightforward. So yes, activator, clicking on the front, and then we have a puller module that's pulling from the back and just simply pulling the items into the slot. Remember, this goes from left to right from the top row, then goes down and so on and so forth. So we want it to pull the items in first, then try to click. And we want to make sure that if we want to make sure that it clicks in the appropriate order. So what are the items that are required to actually summon this boss? Well, it's going to require all of these individual Wilden drops that you see here. So Wilden spikes, wings, and horns. And we've already done this boss before. And then we also need the tablet of summoning wilds. So because I have this set on pulse, we can take this through its individual steps with a button, for example, and we should be able to pulse this over and over again here to watch it go through each step. So let's put this in order. This is going to go first, and then these can go in any order, but then we want it to end. So whenever I pulse this, it puts in the tablet, and then I think it just actually clicked to summon the boss. Okay, so this is not exactly what we want it to do. We actually want it to feed the items in. All of the residual items. I think having it on pulsed is the wrong thing I wanted to do. This is what I get for trying to show you guys something. Okay, let's try this again. However, this time, what I'm going to do is pull these items out, make sure our speed goes in here. And there we go. So now it should do the pulling operation first before clicking. Let's try this again. We may have to, play with this. It's been a little bit since I've done this. But yes, let's see. We also want to make sure this is off. It does jump to pulse, doesn't it? We want it off for right now. I'm going to put the tablet in. Remember all these items in one, only one set at the moment, because that's kind of how we would automate it with Applied Energistics. Okay. And so now it's got the speed. There we go. And now it just summoned the boss. So it put all of those different things in, and it's summoning the Wilden, or at least it should have. Yes. And there we go. There's the Wilden boss, exactly what we need, and all of that fun stuff. Now, do we instantly kill the boss? No, it is going to at least go through a 2 phase. It's to be expected. Definitely to be expected. By the way, you can also use this guy to just farm all of these things. Oh, it's going to make us 3 phase it. But notice this is going to take a while. Like if we do this by hand and we have to be the one that kills it, it's going to take a while. We can actually get away with not killing it by hand by using a mob crusher, unless the configs have been changed in this pack to prevent that from happening. I mean, it should quite literally be as easy as setting up a mob crusher, just like so, placing in some upgrades, like for range, for example, making sure that's within this range. And by the way, we also want to make sure that there's not really any blocks that are within this spawn range as well. So I think we actually need to take this back, because this boss, believe it or not, will actually destroy blocks within a certain range. So we really need to spawn it in one more time just to kind of understand its destruction radius. And that way we can see this happen. So I'm going to leave this right here before we set this up, because I don't want it to break the, I don't want it to break this, which I know it will end up doing. I think you can also scroll wheel here, but yes. Click that. And then when this boss spawns, like I said, it should destroy these blocks. And then we'll find out exactly what range we're going to need to be able to instantly take this boss out. Yeah, look at that. It breaks the blocks right there. Not exactly what we want. We don't really want to deal with that. So man, all the way out there, it does this. Woof. And so this is why you test, right? So that way we can put the mob crusher out here. And let's see, will this range upgrade work for this? I mean, that is within range. This range upgrade should work. And we're going to throw in some really, really high powered speed upgrades in here to make sure it does take this boss out instantly. So we throw a point on this to give it some power. We can turn the range off. We don't really need that anymore. And as soon as this guy gets spawned in, it's a goner. Yeah. We'll toss that in, this, and this. There we go. All of it gets spawned in. And let's hope that the Mob Crusher does its thing and it isn't actually blacklisted from working with the Mob Crusher. Oh. Well, that's interesting. It's doing interesting damage to it. Like tick damage. Huh. I'm used to it just completely taking it out. You know what? With me knowing this, what I might just end up doing, I'm just going to set up a chain of these and hand do them. Curse you, Mob Crusher, and your lack of insta-killing these mobs. So you know what? Here we go. I have all of my repeaters, which these will trigger with redstone instead of me right-clicking them. And so I'm just going to trigger them all at once, and we are going to take them all on all at once. That's just going to have to, just how it's going to be. And so we'll put all of these in one at a time and all of the other ingredients one at a time. Thankfully, we can just right click them. And this one right here is the last of the batch. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be that bad, right? Surely. This is going to be great. There's going to be 18 of these bad boys that just spawn all inside of this small space. This is going to get wild here. All right, and takes a minute, doesn't it? It is taking. Oh wait, it's turned off. There we go. We have to click it one more time. Oh my goodness, the particles. This is fantastic. Oh wow. Oh boy. And yes, we have created a monster here. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of wolves going on right now. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Spikes everywhere. Oh, things are happening. I'm getting pushed. Yes, it can fly, apparently. That's so many bosses. It's actually absurd. These guys go into a state where they won't be attacked anymore. I mean, whoa, did it actually break the housing here? It broke the walls. Okay, I wasn't actually expecting it to be able to break through these blocks. It just broke through these blocks. What? I don't know what to say. I really don't. It did the thing. We only got 17 of them. I'm thinking they may have gotten blown up in the whole mix, or they may have went out the window. I really don't know, but 17 out of the total 18 that we spawned. But you know what? That's fine. We took out the one beforehand, so we actually have all of them that we need. And now to automate the actual production of the focus of summoning that we need, I just like to use some hoppers. Like, this is a very simple thing. It can be 100% automated, by the way, with like modular routers. I really like using modular routers too. But yes, we just need source blocks, gold. This is a really easy item to craft in bulk like this. I'm just going to do 18 of them, set up like so. And this can be tick accelerated, by the way. So source gems. We'll grab some blocks. We need 18 of these, give or take. Yeah, 18 specifically. And what I'll do is I'm going to accelerate this right here, place it in. It gets instantly crafted. And we just keep crafting them over and over again. It's pretty awesome, right? Look at that. All 18 of these. And now I can check this off the list. And it's time to do, in my opinion, one of the worst things here, just because of the noise it makes. And that is the flight module. Oh, yes. Ah, the good old RF tools utility, which these syringes would be used to, for example, make a mob spawner. It's a classic way of making an RF tools mob spawner, but it can also be used to make a flight module, which could give you creative flight if you were to dabble into the RF tools mod, which honestly, because of all these other mods that we have available to us, I mean, it just kind of gets kind of overlooked. This would be a part of the environmental controller, which is this thing right here, which is technically a block, by the way. It just doesn't look like all of the other blocks. But yes, you would place this down, place the flight module in there, and it would give you flight whenever you set your range and use power to give you flight within your base. But now the problem is definitely the syringes here. So this is going to take a little bit to sort of do, but we've got to figure out one problem. That's getting a ghast. So we've got to get ourselves a ghast and be able to swab it and be able to spawn the ghasts. That, I think, shouldn't be too difficult. It's just the actual clicking and constantly killing of the ghast that's kind of a problem. But I think I have a solution to that problem. Okay, now the more I think about it, yes, I think this is going to be a problem getting a ghast. Now, there's a couple of ways I think we could go about getting a ghast. We could get one to spawn in the nether. If we go into like a soul sand valley, place down some soul sand, I think you have to give it some space to actually spawn, an area to potentially spawn. It could just spawn in midair. That could be an easy way to do it. But I wanted to play around with mystical agriculture since we already have it. And we could use some of our tiers that we already have to make a ghast seed. So we just need soul jars, just a couple of those. So we make like 4 of those real quick. Those get made like instantaneously. And ghast tiers, right? So we'll use this to make us a seed getting started, which I think I have. Yeah, I have all the stuff down here to do this. This should be made very quickly, and we'll just throw this in here. That seed will get made up very quickly, and this is going to start the production of our ghast essence, which we're going to need for the next step. And that essence gets used in the Solium spawner. Yes, this is very interesting. It has an operating speed and all kinds of other fun stuff, but apparently it takes the essence and it spawns in the mob. Now it shows the egg as the item, like it's creating an item, but I think it just spawns in the mob itself. So let's see, how much ghast essence do we have? 30. I think that's enough for this to work. So let's take this and we're going to actually go back into our sorting box for testing purposes, right? And let's build a few blocks up to make sure it has the most optimal spawning radius. And does this have a coal slot? Yeah, we can even power it with coal. Look at that. Beautiful here. Just use some of these, throw that, and we put that in here, and that should summon a ghast. So let's grab ourselves a mob swab. That way we can swab this ghast. And yeah, it actually does just spawn a regular ghast, which is kind of what I wanted. Perfect. And you know what? I was going to mob swap this and just create it, but I could just capture this one that we just did. Let's make another one real quick. So I just put more essence in here. I'm going to get one to spawn, and I'm going to catch it in the mob imprisonment tool. I think that is going to be the best way to capture this. So beautiful. We have it captured. I don't need this anymore. And now we can forever imprison this ghast and torture it forever. And I'm not even joking, because we're just going to use a flux point on here. Make sure we have this some power, throw in some tier 8 upgrades, so that way this thing heals like crazy. And then we just spawn the ghast right on top. And I don't think it will attack me while it's in this state. We could also shrink it to make it a little bit smaller, which is kind of funny. I feel like we could use the shrink mod to do this. So let's do that. Can I not just punch it? Shift right click on the mob? I shift right clicked on the mob. So there we go. So now we have this little ghast that is just nice and tucked away in here. Perfect. It has like infinite slowness. And then yeah, let's make some RF tools syringes. We're going to need quite a few of them. And what we do with these is we just punch the ghast over and over and over and over again. And we just need to fill our last syringe, and that is all of our syringes filled with ghast. And you know what? Now that we have this, we can go ahead and just, I'm just going to go ahead and pick him up, you know, and relieve him of his duties. I think that would be more than fine. We'll just throw him back into the mob imprisonment tool. This is wrong. But you know what? We can't dwell on it. We've got things to do. We've got all the mod stars to complete. And if that means imprisoning a ghast and syringing it for eternity, it is what it is. The rest of this, though, is just simply making patterns for all of this stuff. Like, we've got to go down a very, very deep rabbit hole, all the way through this operation where we need to make these crystals. It's honestly, it's kind of expensive. Like, all of this stuff, pretty darn expensive. But let's see. For the flight module itself, when I built the pattern, I made sure to turn substitutions on because I think the syringe might mess with this. But I think we can just craft this if I did all of the patterns correctly. Okay, we're missing infused diamonds. But yeah, outside of that, it seemed pretty happy. We start, and all 18 are crafted. That's wild. So you know what? I'm pretty excited about today. We got most of the small things out of the way that are needed for the All the Mod Star. And hopefully you learned something in today's episode. I know there's a lot of like tidbits here that I kind of explained throughout this video, but if you did learn something, be sure to click that subscribe button. Give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And well, don't forget to comment down below and answer the question of the day. And guys, I thank you so very much. And well, with that being said, it's time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going out to Cole. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over on the Discord while becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible, you absolute boss. Thank you so very much. And thanks to all of you guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, yet again, thanks for watching.